47 minutes. That's how long it took for Nancy Guthrie's world to end. 12:47 a.m. A masked figure appears at her door. Ring camera captures it. 1:34 a.m. Her pacemaker stops transmitting. The woman who needed that device to keep her heart beating, the woman who'd lived 84 years, raised 3 children, survived the death of her husband, built a life in Tucson, Arizona, just disappears from all monitoring systems. 47 minutes. Somewhere in that window, everything changed. And the answers to what happened to Nancy Guthrie, the answers that would let Savannah Guthrie sleep at night, the answers that would bring an 84-year-old woman home are hidden inside those 47 minutes. But here's what nobody's telling you. The FBI knows more about those 47 minutes than they're saying. The pacemaker data reveals a pattern. The neighbor's dogs heard something the cameras didn't capture. And 3 weeks before Nancy vanished, someone was already at her door practicing. Tonight, we're reconstructing the timeline everyone else is ignoring, minute by minute, using forensic evidence, medical data, and witness testimony to understand the 47 minutes that changed everything. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let us know where you're watching from, because what you're about to see will change how you understand this case. And now, we begin. Before we can understand what happened on February 1st, when we need to talk about January 11th, 3 weeks earlier, same house, same door, same time of night. Someone stood on Nancy Guthrie's front porch. The Ring doorbell camera captured them. And then they left. No contact, no entry, just watching. For weeks, nobody knew this footage existed. When Nancy disappeared on February 1st and the FBI obtained access to her Ring account, they found 2 visits on the server, 2 separate dates, both in the middle of the night, both at the same door. Google initially confirmed the January 11th date to investigators. Then something strange happened. They walked it back, saying they couldn't be certain of the exact date, only that it was from a previous date and significant to the investigation. Sheriff Chris Nanos spent weeks publicly denying it meant anything. "We don't know why people keep saying that," he told reporters. "There's no evidence of a previous visit." Then he changed his story. In late March, he admitted, "Actually, we do think it's from a previous date. We think it's an important date." What changed his mind? According to sources, Google provided metadata that couldn't be disputed. Server logs, timestamps, IP data, proof that someone stood at Nancy Guthrie's door on January 11th, in almost the exact position they'd stand 3 weeks later when they came back to take her. But here's how the FBI knew the dates were different before Google confirmed anything. The moon. January 11th was not a full moon. The Ring footage from that night shows a completely black background, no ambient light, no glow, just darkness. February 1st featured one of the most powerful supermoons in years. The desert behind Nancy's house was bathed in silver light. You can see it clearly in the released footage. The ground is visible, illuminated, almost ghostly in its detail. The lighting doesn't lie. So why was someone at Nancy's door on January 11th? Former FBI agents call it reconnaissance. You don't execute a kidnapping without testing first. You check if cameras are active. You watch if lights turn on. You listen if dogs bark. You time how long it takes for someone to answer a knock. You rehearse. And whoever stood at Nancy Guthrie's door on January 11th was rehearsing for February 1st. February 1st, 2025. Let me walk you through what we know happened minute by minute. 11:30 p.m., January 31st. Nancy Guthrie goes to bed. She's wearing pajamas. She takes her evening medication. Her pacemaker is functioning normally, but transmitting data to her medical monitoring system as it does every night. 12:47 a.m., February 1st. Ring doorbell camera activates. A masked figure stands at the front door. They're wearing what appears to be a dark backpack. They stand there for several seconds. The camera goes dark, physically removed or disabled. Around 1 to 1:15 a.m., 2 houses down, a couple's dogs start barking frantically. The dogs want out. They're staring toward Nancy's house. The owners let them into the backyard. The dogs run to the back fence, still barking, still agitated. This has never happened before. These dogs don't wake up in the middle of the night. By 1:34 a.m., Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker stops transmitting data. The device that sends real-time information to her medical providers, information about her heart rate, rhythm, any irregularities, goes silent. 9 a.m., Annie Guthrie and her husband Tommaso arrive at Nancy's house for their regular check-in. From the street, everything looks normal. Front door closed, security screen door closed, no signs of disturbance. They open the door. The back doors, both of them, are propped open. Nancy's phone sits on the table. Her purse is there, wallet inside, ID untouched. Her medication bottles are on the counter, the pills she needs to survive, the pills that keep her heart stable. Her shoes are lined up by the door, all of them, and on the front porch, just outside the door, where that masked figure stood 7 hours earlier, there's a small dark stain. Blood, Nancy's blood, confirmed by forensic testing. Nancy is gone. Barefoot, in her pajamas, without her phone, without her medication, without her pacemaker monitoring, without any way to survive. And somewhere in the 47 minutes between 12:47 and 1:34, everything that mattered happened. Here's what most people don't understand about pacemaker monitoring systems. Modern pacemakers don't just regulate your heartbeat, they're data transmission devices. They send constant information to medical providers. Heart rate, rhythm irregularities, device function, battery status. All of it transmitted in real time through a bedside monitor connected to phone lines or cellular networks. Nancy's pacemaker was working perfectly at 1 a.m. Medical records confirm normal transmission. By 1:34 a.m., the signal was gone. There are only 4 ways a pacemaker stops transmitting. 1. The device fails. Statistically rare, and Nancy's pacemaker was newer and functioning normally. 2. The bedside monitor loses power or connection, but Annie found the monitor still plugged in, still powered on when she arrived at 9 a.m. 3. The patient moves out of range of the monitor. These monitors work up to about 30 feet. Nancy's bedroom to her driveway, about 40 feet. If someone carried her to a vehicle and drove away, the signal would cut. 4. The patient's heart stops and the pacemaker stops having a rhythm to monitor. Let me be very clear about what this means. Between 1 a.m. and 1:34 a.m., Nancy Guthrie either left her house or died in her house. And given what we know, given the blood on the front porch, given the propped open back doors, given the 84-year-old woman with severe mobility issues who couldn't walk to her mailbox on most days, the timeline tells us something horrifying. This wasn't a smooth, professional kidnapping. This was 47 minutes of chaos. Savannah Guthrie said something in her interview that everyone heard, but nobody understood. The back doors were propped open, not unlocked, propped, deliberately held open with something. I went to Tucson. I walked the terrain behind Nancy's house with former Pima County SWAT Commander Bob Kruger. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, nobody is carrying an 84-year-old woman through that desert landscape in the dark. The cacti would shred you. The rocks would make you stumble every few steps. The rattlesnakes are active when temperatures are warm enough. It's brutal terrain even in daylight for someone young and healthy. So if the back doors were propped open, but Nancy didn't go out the back way, why were they open? Here's what the forensic evidence suggests. The intruders came in through the back. Maybe Nancy left one door unlocked. She'd lived there 50 years. Her neighborhood was safe, and constantly locking doors with her mobility issues was difficult. They propped both doors open for quick access and multiple escape routes. But something went wrong. The 47-minute timeline tells us it didn't go according to plan. Professional kidnappers are in and out in minutes. You subdue the target, you move them to the vehicle, you disappear. 5 minutes, maybe 10 if you're being cautious. 47 minutes means panic. 47 minutes means the plan fell apart. Here's what I think happened. They entered through the back. They went to Nancy's bedroom. They attempted to subdue her, maybe with a hand over her mouth, maybe by restraining her. She fought. An 84-year-old woman with limited mobility fought back, because what else do you do when masked strangers are in your bedroom in the dead of night? The struggle stressed her heart. At 84, with a pacemaker, with existing heart conditions, extreme fear and physical struggle can trigger cardiac events. They panicked. They tried to move her. They got her to the front door. That's where the blood came from. Maybe she fell. Maybe she was already unconscious. Maybe she was already gone. And then they realized they couldn't take her out the back. The terrain was impossible, especially carrying dead weight, so they brought her out the front, loaded her into a vehicle parked in the driveway where it couldn't be seen from the street, and drove away. The back doors stayed propped open because in their panic, they forgot to close them. 47 minutes of chaos. 47 minutes where everything that could go wrong did. 2 houses down from Nancy, a couple has 2 large dogs. Alert dogs, the kind that bark when someone walks by on the street. Around 1 a.m. on February 1st, those dogs went crazy. Frantic barking, desperate to get outside, staring toward Nancy's house. The owners let them into the backyard. The dogs ran straight to the back fence, still barking, still agitated, focused on something in the desert behind the houses. This had never happened before. These dogs didn't wake up in the middle of the night. The owners thought it was wildlife. Coyote, maybe. They brought the dogs back inside and went to sleep. The next morning, they saw the police cars and realized what their dogs had been trying to tell them. But here's the critical detail. The dog started barking at 1 a.m. The Ring camera shows the masked figure at 12:47 a.m. That's a 13-minute gap. If the person at the front door was the abductor and the dogs were barking at someone behind the house 13 minutes later, that confirms multiple people were involved. Someone at the front door, someone else moving around back, coordinating, or it confirms the person who came to the front door gained entry, moved through Nancy's house, and went out the back doors. Maybe to check escape routes, maybe to bring equipment from a vehicle, maybe because the plan was already falling apart. Either way, those dogs heard what happened in the 47 minutes. They heard movement, they heard struggle, they heard something so disturbing that their instinct was to alert, to warn, to sound the alarm. Nobody was listening. After Nancy disappeared, ransom notes started appearing. Most were fake, disgusting opportunists trying to extort money from a desperate family. But Savannah Guthrie said something critical. I believe the 2 notes we received that we responded to. I tend to believe those are real. 2 notes sent directly to the family. Notes containing information only someone who'd been inside Nancy's house would know. Specific details, locations of items, things not public. The family responded. They engaged. They offered money, eventually over $1.2 million in reward funds. Then silence. No proof of life. No further instructions. No way to pay. Just silence. Former FBI agents say this is the signature of amateurs who got in over their heads. Professionals have collection systems, cryptocurrency protocols, drop points, carefully planned pickups. These people sent notes and disappeared. Why? Because by the time they sent the notes, Nancy was likely already dead, and they knew it. There's a legal concept called felony murder. If someone dies during the commission of a felony, everyone involved can be charged with murder, even if they didn't intend to kill anyone. If you kidnap an 84-year-old woman with a pacemaker and she dies from cardiac arrest during the abduction, you're not a kidnapper anymore. You're a murderer facing life in prison or Arizona's death penalty. The silence isn't mysterious. It's self-preservation. Someone out there knows they can't collect ransom money because the moment they try, they're not just confessing to kidnapping, they're confessing to murder. Let me show you the 47 minutes with everything we know synchronized. 12:47 a.m. Ring camera, masked figure at front door. 12:48 to 12:55 a.m. unknown. Entry gained, likely through back door. 12:55 to 1:10 a.m. unknown. Movement through house to bedroom. 1 a.m. Neighbor's dogs start barking. Someone in back area. 1 to 1:15 a.m. Pacemaker still transmitting. Nancy still in range or alive. 1:10 to 1:30 a.m. unknown. Struggle, attempted restraint, cardiac event. 1:30 to 1:34 a.m. Movement to front door. Blood on porch. 1:34 a.m. Pacemaker stops transmitting. Out of range or deceased. 1:35 to 1:45 a.m. Unknown. Vehicle departure. 3 critical unknowns in this timeline. Unknown number 1. How did they gain entry? If through the back door, was it unlocked or forced? Unknown number 2. What happened in Nancy's bedroom between 12:55 and 1:30? That's 35 minutes. What took so long? Unknown number 3. Was Nancy alive when the pacemaker stopped transmitting at 1:34, or had she already died? The FBI knows the answers to at least some of these questions. DNA from the blood on the porch. Touch DNA from door handles. Digital forensics from the ring system. Cell tower pings from phones in the area. They know more than they're saying. And that's actually a good sign. It means they're building a case, not just investigating blindly. I've covered missing persons cases for years. I've seen investigations go cold. I've seen families lose hope. This case will not be one of them. The evidence is massive. Ring footage from 2 dates. Pacemaker medical data. Blood evidence with DNA. Touch DNA from doorknobs. Google server metadata. Cell tower records. Neighbor security cameras. Financial records. Digital footprints everywhere. Now, the FBI doesn't quit. They brought in 70 agents. Kidnapping is federal. They have unlimited resources and unlimited time. Someone will talk. This wasn't a solo operation. Multiple people were involved or have knowledge. People break under guilt. They confess to loved ones. They brag. They crack. The timeline will trap them. Cell phones ping towers. Cars have GPS. Security cameras cover modern Tucson. The digital cage is already being built around suspects, even if we can't see it yet. Arizona has the death penalty. When suspects realize they're facing murder charges, not kidnapping, the first person to cooperate gets the deal. The last person gets death row. That pressure breaks conspiracies. Former U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Richard Carmona, who served 34 years in the Pima County Sheriff's Department, told me this will be solved. It might take a year, 5 years, but it will be solved. There's too much evidence. I believe him. Somewhere in those 47 minutes between 12:47 and 1:34 on February 1st, 2025, Nancy Guthrie's life changed forever. Maybe she heard a sound. Maybe she opened a door. Maybe she saw a face. Maybe she fought. Maybe her heart, after 84 years of beating strong, finally gave out under the weight of terror. We don't know, not yet. But someone does. Someone was there. Someone knows what happened in those 47 minutes. Someone knows where Nancy is. Someone knows if she suffered. Someone carries that knowledge every single day. And Savannah Guthrie, who goes on television every morning, who smiles for the camera, who carries grief so heavy it would break most of us, deserves to know the truth. Nancy deserves to be found. Justice deserves to be served. If you know anything about what happened to Nancy Guthrie, make the call. You can remain anonymous. You can claim the reward. You can do the right thing. 47 minutes destroyed a family. One phone call could bring them peace. If this investigation opened your eyes to something the mainstream media missed, subscribe. We're not chasing views. We're chasing truth. Thank you for watching. Keep Nancy's name alive until she comes home.